Hello students, in last lecture of chapter 7 evolution, today we are going to discuss about biological evolution, then mechanism of evolution, Hardy-Weinberg principle, then origin of man and its evolution on this earth, and brief account of evolution. First of all, we are starting with biological evolution. In previous lecture, you have already studied about different evidences of evolution. By studying this type of evidences, we can come to know about the evolution of life or origin of life on this earth. Here, one term is important, that is natural selection. Also, we can say nature select for fittest, and fitness is based on characteristics which are inherited. So many organisms, various population, they develop on this earth at different time period or different area. Some of these organisms, they have adapted their environment in greater frequency, and some organisms, they could not acquire or adapt their continued environment at that time. So it is about survival of the fittest also. So those organisms, they have better adapted to survive in otherwise hostile environment. So we can say fitness is the end result of the ability to adapt and get selected by nature. At various time period on this earth, when life originated and gradually process of evolution take place, it was began with microorganism to primitive or unicellular to multicellular organism, and nowadays advanced, that is we are human, Homo sapiens sapiens. During this time period, in between this, so many changes occur on this earth. Those organisms, they could acquire, adapt their environment, surrounding environment, they could survive. Otherwise, other organisms, they could not survive their environment, could not adapt their environment, they could not survive and rejected by nature. So the main base of this theory, biological evolution, we can also say it is a one type of natural selection. As we know very well, Darwin, he has also proposed the theory of natural selection. One of the scientist, philosopher named Lamarck, he has also worked on this biological evolution. According to Lamarck, evolution of life form had occurred but driven by use and disuse of organs. It means that according to Lamarck, those organs in organisms, they are in use, they are in active condition, they continuously develop, and those organs or body parts, they are not in use, gradually they are degenerated. Simply we can study the example of giraffe. As you know, the neck of giraffe is long. Giraffe to evolve their neck by foraging leaves on tall trees, and that's why they are having such a type of neck and had to adapt by elongation of their necks. We can also say by studying the example of snake. In snake, actually limbs, they were not actually useful for various purpose, and gradually this disused organs or body part degenerated. So this way, according to Lamarck theory, it is based on use and disuse of organs. Two terms are important here. They are actually key concepts of Darwinian theory of evolution, and this is branching descent and natural selection. According to Darwin theory of evolution, it means that the organisms on this earth, they were selected by nature, they could survive on this earth. This observation is actually based on some factors, and these are limited natural resources, because population was more in number, but According to this population, natural resources were not available in sufficient amount. They were limited. So obviously competition was there. Secondary, overpopulation. It means that number of organisms like plants and animals, they were more in number. Third, competition for resources, because resources were limited and number of organism was more. So obviously there was competition in between these organisms for various resources like their food requirement and some other requirement as well as habitat also. Fourth is struggle for existence. Due to this competition, it is but natural there was a struggle in between this organism for their existence, survival on this earth. And fifth one is survival of the fittest. As we know very well, those organisms can survive on this earth, actually they are fit, they are fittest. So fitness is one of the important characteristics here for surviving on this earth. And this concept of Darwin theory, the proposed theory by Darwin, is actually natural selection theory. So such way the characteristics, number of population, and this way this type of factors are involved, and so one type of natural selection. Mechanism of evolution. Now process of evolution, you know very well how the existing organism on this earth actually they develop from origin of earth to today's environment. Okay, at that time first of all aquatic organism they develop, they were unicellular, and from that today's multicellular organism they have developed. Scientist named Hugo de Vries, based on his work on evening primrose, brought the idea about mutation. This term is familiar to you. What is mutation? Actually sudden changes, chromosome, number of chromosome, structure of chromosome or gene, and this mutation is carried forward from generation to generation. So this way mutation is the large difference arising suddenly in a population. They are not having a specific direction, they are random and directionless, while Darwin variations are small and directional. Mutations actually they are arising due to some abnormal condition, but if we talk about the variation, mutation may be responsible for variation or may not be responsible for variation also. So for evolution, mutation is also one of the important mechanism, as well as variations are also involved. According to Hugo de Vries, mutation causes speciation. Speciation means formation of new species. So many species they are observed on this earth of plants and animals. From pre-existing species, when new species develop, it take long period of time, and when this new species arise or develop, this mechanism is known as speciation, and hence it called saltation. Saltation means single step large mutation. So according to Hugo de Vries theory related with mechanism of evolution, mutation causes speciation. Hardy-Weinberg principle proposed by scientists Hardy and Weinberg. It is very well known. According to this principle, in a given population, frequency of occurrence of alleles or genes. Now we are familiar with this word. What is allele or gene? It can be finding out. So if we have idea about a particular population, we can also observe its frequency of occurrence of alleles or genes by observation. This frequency remains fixed and even remain the same through generation. It means that once this frequency which occur in any organism, frequency of occurrence in alleles or genes, it remain fixed, and from one generation to next generation it is carried out. It is proposed by algebraic equation by Hardy and Weinberg. Allele frequency in a population are stable. It cannot be vary. No changes occurring in it and is constant from generation to generation. It means that if once this allele frequency is fixed in any generation in a population, it remains stable. Gene pool remains constant. It is called genetic equilibrium. It means that all genes present in the body of an organism and sum total of all the allelic frequency is 1. So, when we try to find out by using this algebraic equation proposed by scientists named Hardy and Weinberg, this allelic frequency is 1. How this algebraic equation was proposed by scientists? As you know, in algebra, p plus q square is equal to p square plus 2pq and q square, and according to this law, according to the principle, it remain 1. Here we can say the small p and q. It represent the frequency of allele capital A and allele small a respectively in a population. So, small p is for allele A and small q is for allele small a. Frequency of AA, capital A, suppose such a type of individual in a population is simply p square. It's a probability that an allele capital A with a frequency of p. Now you know it, allele capital A is related with frequency small p appear on the both chromosomes of a diploid individual, and simply the product of probability is p square according to this principle. Similarly, if we consider smallest only individual, that is in place of p square, now this q square, and that is why so p square plus 2pq plus q square is 1. So, such a way when in a population in various individuals this type of frequency is measured, the actual value varies that indicate the extent of evolutionary changes. So, evolutionary changes, these factors are involved which can vary the value of this type of frequency in given population. Change of frequency in a allele according to Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium in a population is resulted due to evolution. From the origin of earth or for origin of life, in the life form of organism, whether it is plant or animal, so many changes are observed gradually from primitive to higher organism they have developed, and it is due to the process of evolution. So, due to this mechanism of evolution, changes of frequency in an allele which occur in population. When we talk about this principle, that is Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium, some factors are there which can affect this equilibrium also, and these are: first, gene migration or gene flow. When one population migrate from particular geographical area to another area and undergo the process of reproduction, at that time is known as gene migration or gene flow from one place to another place. Second is genetic drift. It is also one of the important factor. Third is mutation. Now what is mutation? That you know very well. Fourth one is genetic recombination. It means that when various type of genes, the time of reproduction, they combine as a parent. At the time of reproduction, new combinations arises. And fifth one is natural selection. So, this type of factor can affect Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. During genetic drift. Sometimes change in alleles frequency is so different in sample of population and become a different species. Actually take place in the some particular type of population but take long period of time, because in a suppose in species A, due to environmental condition, due to adaptation, some changes occur in its body and some changes occur in its characteristics. Gradually this changes or this variation, they are in their peak or high frequency, that this species is now totally different than its mother species or original species. At that time we can say that the species is now a new species, that is the now origin of new species. The original drifted population becomes founder this way, and that effect is called founder effect. So this way, when during genetic drift these changes in allele frequency occur in particular type of population and it become a new species, it's become a founder, and this entire effect is known as founder effect. Brief account of evolution. Now you have clear idea about what is evolution, what is origin of life, about origin of earth, then process of evolution and evidences of evolution. Now as you know very well, this evolution, it means that today's present day's life form, they are not existing directly from the origin of earth. It has taken too long time period. About 2000 million ago, first cellular form of life appeared on this earth. So 2000 million years ago, actually in this earth, first time a cellular form of life was observed. Then gradually, slowly, from this single cell organism, the growth development process take place and it became multicellular. By the time of 1500 man, invertebrates were formed and active. So vertebrates, they are higher organisms, but before it, previously, invertebrates organism, gradually they form from multicellular organisms. Then jaw-less fishes evolved around 350 million. Organisms started to invade from water to land. So one type of succession process. Actually first life, it was again started from water aquatic life and gradually it became terrestrial life form. So from water to land, fish with stout and strong fins could move on land and go back to water, and gradually these animals called lobe fins evolved into the first amphibia. You know very well about amphibians. They can survive on land as well as in water also, and this way they develop on this earth. After this, amphibia evolved into reptiles. So it moved one step ahead and they lay shell eggs. So gradually various life form they evolve in this earth. Reptiles of different shapes and sizes dominated on earth. One example is the fish-like reptiles, ichthyosaurs, and the land reptiles, dinosaurs. The biggest of them was Tyrannosaurus rex. So this way the evolutionary changes take place in different life form and evolution process take place, and gradually from amphibia to reptiles to birds and the mammal, they lastly form on this earth highly advanced organism, and we all are mammals. We evolve this way on this earth. So we can say from first single cell life to multicellular organism, from that invertebrates, and after that vertebrate organism develop and highly developed organisms on this earth. Nowadays these are mammals. Mammals, they were viviparous and more intelligent in sensing and avoiding danger. And you are familiar with characteristics of this class, that is mammal. This figure gives us idea about this type of evolution and gradually the changes in different life form on this earth. So representative evolutionary history of vertebrate through geographical periods. Here you can say one side the given time period is there, and on another side different life form of animals they are given here. From gradually this organism they move from the water to land, is here from amphibia to reptiles to birds, and gradually mammals develop. So by studying this figure we can come to know about this type of evolutionary changes, evolutionary forms of life forms on this earth. Origin and evolution of man. Man, as we know very well, we are also belonging to class mammal. We are highly developed organisms, advanced organisms, and we should have idea about origin and evolution of man also. This today's advancement, they are not directly developed, but this take place through from this primitive form to advanced form gradually on this earth. About 15 Maya primates called Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus were existing. If we talk about their characteristics, they were hairy and walk like gorillas and chimpanzee. This Ramapithecus was more man-like, while Dryopithecus was more ape-like. So this is difference between these two organisms. Similarities are there, but Ramapithecus was more man-like, while Dryopithecus it was looked like ape. Few fossils of men like bones have been discovered in Ethiopia and Tanzania, and this revealed hominid features leading to the belief that about 3 to 4 Maya men-like primates walk in eastern Africa and probably not taller than 4 feet but walk upright. So gradually this type of body stature they change their locomotion style, and gradually from this primitive form to advanced form develop on this earth. Stromae Australopithecus probably lived in East African grassland, and they hunted with stone weapons but essentially ate fruit. So at that time actually the fire it was not originated. This type of organisms were ancestor of men. They hunted with stone weapons but essentially ate fruit. Some of the bones among the bones discovered were different, and they were called the first human-like being, that is hominid, and known as Homo habilis. So we can say that it was more similar to today's man. If we talk about their brain capacity, it was between 650 to 800 cc. Gradually this capacity of brain due to advanced feature character it also has increased. They probably did not eat meat. Fossils discovered in Java in the year of 1891 revealed the next stage, that is Homo erectus, and about time period 1.5 Maya. So gradually this way the characteristics were changed and the new species arises on this earth. This Homo erectus, they had a large brain, and now this cranial capacity is increased and it is about 900 cc. Homo erectus, one of the feature that they probably ate meat. Then Neanderthal man is having brain size, cranial capacity is 1400. So here you can observe that gradually it is increasing. They lived in Near East and Central Asia between this time period of this, it's in the 40,000 to 1 lakh years back. They used hides to protect their body and buried their dead. Homo sapiens arose in Africa and moved across continents and developed into distinct races. So we can say nowadays these are highly advanced animals on this earth. We also belong to same species, that is Homo sapiens species, and Homo sapiens they arose in Africa and after that they moved across different continents. During Ice Age, between the 75,000 to 10,000 years of time period ago, modern Homo sapiens arose. If you talk about prehistoric cave, this art developed about 18,000 years ago, and some evidences are there. They were found at different parts of different countries, and one of the interesting, that is Bhimbetka rock shelter in Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh. It is also there. So it suggests that prehistoric human, how it was developed, this type of cave art or cave painting. Then gradually this type of men, they are actually developed various way. Agriculture came around 10,000 years back and human settlement started. So we can say now that it's a sign, it's a presentation of that it's a now advanced feature and developing the Homo sapiens species in highly advanced characteristics. After that you know about the history of human growth and decline of civilization. So gradually from this different habitat, actually first of all in forest area, without invention of fire, lifestyle was totally different, characteristics primitive, then gradually different growth and development take place, evolutionary changes occur, and nowadays today's highly advanced that are human being Homo sapiens, they are surviving on this earth.